Hello, my dears. Welcome back to our YouTube channel for those of you that already subscribe to our channel, and welcome to the new subscribers if we have some. My name is Madalina Vlad. I'm the CEO of the company MBV Tax, which is a company that takes care of accounting services and attracting European funds here in Romania. And as usual, we'll discuss about a subject which is on the interest for those of you that already have a company here in Romania, or at least as information for those of you that want to open a company here in Romania. So today we will speak about controls and fines and mistakes that can attract fiscal authorities' attention if you do this. So if in the beginning you thought you are too small to attract attention of the fiscal authorities, maybe you'll need to think again, because it doesn't matter the level of the turnover, how much money you have invoiced. The most important thing now, since all these changes and since the fiscal system that is checking the risk, is calculating the risk for you for not submitting all the declarations and for not declaring everything. Basically, now they are calculating the risk of non-conformation and not necessarily the money that you will have to pay to fiscal authorities. So even if, for example, you will have 10,000 euro as turnover, you may face controls from fiscal authorities here in Romania. Mistake number 1. The differences between fiscal declarations. If you thought that ANAF will not check what you submit online, or not necessarily you, but your accountants, you are wrong. Not only that they check right now what you say in all the declarations that you submit, but they also compare the declarations between them. And if there are any discrepancies between what you declared in one declaration and the same period another declaration, and if there is any difference between them, I'm not talking about 1 to 10 euro, I'm talking about higher amounts. Not only that they can start a control, but first of all, the procedure will be like this. They will send you a notification for confirmation. Basically, they are telling you, hey, something is wrong, you have some differences between these two declarations, and if you do not see it and you do not answer on time, for sure they can start an action of control on the company that you own. And for sure here I can give you an example, because we had recently helped a client which had a similar situation. Just for you to know, a PFA here in Romania can be also VAT payer if the turnover is higher. So in this case, it was about a PFA which was a VAT payer. So he had in the unique declaration that we submit only once a year a certain level of money, 430,000 RON, and in other declaration that he is submitting for the PFA for the VAT, the incomes that he declared there were 485,000 RON. So basically the difference was of 55,000 RON between these two declarations. It was not such a high difference, which means it's more or less 11,000 euro, but ANAF sent in the virtual private space initially a notification in which he invited the client or his accountant to submit some documents and to justify the difference between these. Neither the client, neither the accountant saw that notification, and they had 15 days to answer. For sure, after 15 days, if you did not receive any answer as fiscal authority, you will start an action of controlling. It was not something that it was too bad, but why to risk to have a control when you could have escaped only with a few documents, or maybe just a few explanations and corrections between these two declarations? So that's why it's really important to see what you receive. Basically, what is the lesson that you should learn from this situation is the fact that if you have a company here in Romania, not only your accountant must have access to a virtual private space, also you as entrepreneur must be the most interested person in having access on the virtual private space. Why I'm telling you this is because you are the only one that has the biggest interest that the company functions and to function quite in good terms and conditions. So if an accountant has multiple companies on his virtual private space, and not necessarily because he didn't knew, but maybe there were too many notifications that he received on that day, and he slipped, he didn't saw your notification. In this case, the principle of double checking, basically you and your accountant, is the best to be applied, because you are the only one and you see only the notification for your company. An accountant see the notification for multiple companies. So that's why this is the lesson that you should apply here in Romania, to have access to everything that is submitted and in the virtual private space. The second lesson that should be taught is for sure not to forget to answer to any request that you may have from fiscal authorities. It's really important to answer on time, otherwise you may expect to different situations of control, or not necessarily, but headaches, let's say headaches. The second mistake that you may do is to declare exaggerate expenses compared to the incomes that you have. And when I'm telling you exaggerated expenses, I mean that you ask your friends and all the relatives that you have to make invoices on your company's name. Be attentive that not all the expenses can be deducted on the company, as I already explained in another video. And starting from now, everything, it will be not necessarily now, from this year, starting with e-invoice system, which is mandatory for everybody, PFA, SRL, ONG, NGOs, and other types of companies. Starting from this moment on, everything is seen directly in fiscal authorities system. So you cannot trick them anymore. Like, for example, you are a consultancy company, as shareholder you have men, and you buy women dresses. Why do you buy women dresses? Or you buy children clothes? No, this cannot be done from now on, because everything is seen. I may tell you about a colleague that was recently called from fiscal authorities, also PFA, because I don't know what happened, but lately only the PFAs had this type of controls, in which the lady from a fiscal authority asked my colleague to notify the client that expensive bags cannot be deducted on the company, and for sure in the same day she could not have done all the restaurants and everything that she deducted on that day. So she asked to modify the unique declaration and to change the amounts, because otherwise she will come and see exactly, and she will ask all kind of reports to see what was the activity of that person in that period, especially because it was an PFA which had agriculture activities, so cannot be discussed about too many meetings for businesses and so on. So you need to be really, really attentive to what you are deducting now on the company. The third mistake that you may think is not important, but it is, would be suspicious transactions. What I mean by suspicious transactions is like this. Whenever you have an amount coming from a company or from a country that is with high risk, Ukraine, Russia, all kind of countries from South Africa and so on. These kind of transactions are suspicious in the eye of fiscal authorities and not necessarily also in the eye of the banks. Even myself, I needed to give some explanations in situations in which I received money from client from Ukraine because he wanted to start a company here, and the bank asked me what is my connection with that client and why do I receive money in name of that client. More than this, the bank is obliged here in Romania to announce every transaction that seems suspect. And what I mean by seems suspect is either has a higher amount, more than 10,000 euro. Usually the amounts above 10,000 euro are the bank is obliged to report them to fiscal authorities. Either comes from a country that is banned here in Romania or has some restrictions and so on. So this means suspicious transactions. Be attentive what you are doing on that company and from where you receive the money. It's not something bad, you just need to give supplementary explanations, but that's all. It's not something that can block your bank account or something, no. Just you need to be really attentive to what they are asking to you. The fourth mistake that seems also not so important, but it's really, really important, it's filing the tax return with late. Basically, we have some terms here in Romania, 25th of the month and 30th of the month. Each declaration has a certain due date for submitting. Even if you submit, for example, with 1 day delay, it's enough that all the red sensors from ANAF system to blink. Why I'm telling you this? Because there is only, for example, one mistake which is quite harsh. If you submit the annual financial statement with a delay, with even 1 day, you may lose the status of microenterprise. Basically, instead of paying 3% on the income, you'll be paying on this time 16% on profit, and this is changed instantly. You do not have even any possibility to object. This is law. So even with 1 minute, 1 second late than the due date of submission, then you must be prepared for what's worst. So that's why filing on time for the tax return declaration must be something really, really in your attention. And the fifth mistake that I want to talk about today is related to contracts. Basically, in all the situations, you need to have contract for each service that you are doing. I'm talking here more about services, not necessarily about products. In all the contracts that we had, especially when, for example, you want to have a VAT reimbursement, it's really mandatory to have a contract behind the service that you are doing, and also the report in which you state how many hours you worked and how many days. and what's it's your hourly rate in order to have that expense recognized. So it's not necessarily for you, or even for you if you give invoices to your clients, but also for all the expenses that you receive. It's really important to have everything concluded in a contract. And now in the end, what I can tell you is like this. Of course that there are many other mistakes that may attract suspicion to inspectors of fiscal authorities. But what I wanted to state right now is the fact that not the turnover or the income, the level of the income is relevant, but the way in which you pose yourself in front of a fiscal authority. If you submit everything on time, if you pay on time, if you do not do any suspicious transactions, if you are a good contributor, then for sure nothing will be happened to your company. On the other hand, if you do not comply with all these rules and regulations, you are the first one that risk to have this kind of fiscal authority control. So the important thing is to find the right person to help you to comply with all the rules and regulations, because unfortunately here in Romania they are changing quite often. So this means that you need to really be attentive to what is happening in Romania, or at least to have an accountant that is up to date with everything, and to keep a correct record and to have all the documents behind all the invoices up to date. These are the most important things, and you are okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I clarified some of the aspects and you understood that not the turnover is important. You may have 1 million euro, but if you are okay with everything, no, you should not worry at all. And if you like the video, of course I do expect a like here, and any questions that you may have, you can leave them in the comment area. Also, if you have questions that needs to be more detailed, anytime you can book an appointment with us. You have the Calendly link in the description of the video. Or if you want to buy a consultation, you may go directly to our MBV shop, which is shop.mbv-tax.ro, and you may find there all the products that we have. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be waiting you here with another interesting video next time.